Welcome to the Anthony Brandon Show, everybody. Today, we have a special guest. He goes by the name of Ace of the Musket Vine.
How you doing, guys?
How's it going, man?
Doing good. Thank you for having me on your show, man.
Yeah, man, no problem, man. So, tell me, man, like, what genre would you say you put yourself in, or do you put yourself in a category?
Honestly, I don't like to categorize music that much, just because there's like so many different types of styles of music now. But people usually try to like categorize this as indie rock, but if you really listen to us, it's just like different types of inspirations and music genres in one.
That's awesome, man. So tell me, man, like, how did the Musket Vine get started? Where did it begin at?
The Musket Vine started, well, the band Musket Vine started when I was a sophomore in high school. Before that, it was a blues band. It was the drummer the guy that's our drummer now. We started a band together, and it was called the Ted Heads.
Ted Heads.
And that's because we were greasers at the time.
Okay.
So we were like, okay, so if you do a little like history search, Ted Heads are the guys that would have the curl in the front,
Mm.
So we started playing blues because we really liked blues. We liked the Black Keys. We liked Johnny Cash, stuff like that. And then eventually it just like grew into what it is now, like the Musket Vine. We started incorporating a guitarist and a bass player. And the name Musket Vine just came from, I had like this dream where it was like a tree and it had like vines on it and it had like rifles coming out of it. And then I wrote it down. I'd put trees with musket. And then I was like, I need to write a song out of it. And I came up with, like, I was just writing the song. I don't even remember what it was about. But I was writing the song, and then I came across the words, The Musket Vine. And then I showed it to my drummer, and he was like, oh, that sounds cool for a band name. So that's where the Musket Vine came from.
And then it just stuck since then.
Yeah, just stuck since then.
Nice, man. Nice. So tell me, man, like, I know, like, how has it been with the whole, exactly, like, when did you start making music? Because I know recently how long have you been enlisted for?
I've been in the military in the Army for about 3 years now.
3 years?
Yeah. So we've been a band for about the same amount of time that I've been in the military, so 3 years.
And how has that been, like, with trying to get somewhere within the music and then leaving and coming back? Because I know at one point you actually, like, I started hearing the Musket Vine pretty often in different places, and then like all of a sudden I didn't hear anything for a certain period in time, and then you came back, and then at first I didn't know why, and then little by little I found out that was the case.
Yeah. So it's kind of, you're gonna have to, like, because I'm not an active duty, I'm a reserve soldier, so I go out and do my job, and then I have to come back.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a time I was away for 9 months because I was going through basic training, going through my individual training. And at that time, I couldn't, compose music. I couldn't, like, put my music out there. And then when I came back, I started putting out all the material that I had, like, built up in my head. And then the same thing happened this year, and then the 2016, because I was out in deployment in Iraq, so I couldn't, like, compose anything out there. Yeah. So then when I came back, I just started writing more music, and now it's kind of hard to juggle both at the same time, because with music, if you don't put out constantly, you just kind of fall off,
That's true. People forget about you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So far, what would you say has been, like, one of the biggest difficulties or struggles for the band?
One of the biggest difficulties, I think, maybe recording, because as a band, like, usually people are like, okay, they're a band, so they record together, but that's not the case. Like, the music, as you hear it on record and stuff, I do it all on my own. Like, I record the bass, I record the drums, I record the guitar, the vocals. I do it all on my own, just because, like, the band struggles with recording. Like, I feel like I can do it faster on myself. I can compose a song faster on my own than actually have the whole band, and it's actually cheaper for us to do it.
So at the end of the day, who's all in the band?
So, like I was saying earlier, like, the guy that's still in the band, like the original band members, is my drummer George, and then myself, and then we have this guy named Manny that we know from high school. He's a good friend, and then we have another friend who we've known him since middle school. His name is Xavier. He plays bass.
Nice. And so at the moment, you guys make all your music here at your house, or?
Well, like I was saying, like I record everything. So I write, I compose the album, record them, and produce it all on my own, and I put it out.
And then so they help out more with the live performance.
Yeah. So
But at the end of the day, all the music is made just from you.
yeah.
That's
So
crazy.
so like we have band practice together. Like I'll like write something, record something, like a demo or something, and then I'll go to practice and I'll be like, hey, check this out. Like I wrote this song, and I'll show it to them, and they'll be like, okay, I like it, or I don't like it, you know. And then from there, I kind of like pick out what's gonna go on the album, what's not gonna go on the album, and then like we'll practice and we'll rehearse it, and then they kind of put their own flair into the live performance, you know.
That's crazy, man. Honestly, I would have never guessed that. How did you end up playing so many things and learning how to do all that?
Well, at first, like I was saying, like it was Jidiani, the drummer. He played actually the guitar when we first started, and I played the drums. I didn't know how to play drums. Like I was just really into the Stray Cats, and I used to see how he used to play the drums. Like he's just like standing up, hitting the kick drum and hitting the snare, and then the cymbal. So I was like, oh, this is pretty simple, you know, just keep a beat to it. And then I would sing and play the drums standing up, and he would play the guitar. And then whenever he wouldn't be playing the guitar, we would be like taking a break. I would pick up the guitar and just start playing, messing around with it. Eventually I got my own guitar, and then I taught myself, and then I would tell him, hey, look what I learned. And he'd be like, oh, you're getting way better than me. He's like, you might as well just play guitar.
Yeah.
So then he started playing drums, and he was self-taught. Like we would just be like, oh, we should add a drum fill in here, or do what John Bottom does in this part. You know, like we used to listen to other drummers and we'd be like, you got to incorporate that into our music. And then eventually we got this other guy named Ernesto. He's a really good friend of ours. And then my stepdad was like, why, you guys need a bass player. You know,
Yeah.
it can't just be the two of you. So he bought him a bass, and then we were just like at my house, and then we're just like jamming, and he didn't know how to play bass. I didn't know how to play bass either. But I was like, well, if I can play a guitar, I can play bass. So I just like by ear. I've played all instruments by ear. The first instrument I learned how to play was the violin, but I played that by note. And
Violin? You took violin classes when you were young?
Yeah. When I was in middle school.
Nice.
So I played that for 3 years, and then I was like, I figured I can play, you know, violin. I can play guitar. So I self-taught myself the guitar, and then self-taught myself the bass. And then the drums were just kind of like natural to me because it was just like, you know, it's the beat of the music.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not excellent at it. You know, I'm not saying like I'm the greatest, but, you know, I'm play pretty decent.
Yeah, man. Like, how does your song process go, man? Like, especially since you pretty much do you do everything. So how does the song process work for you, man? Like, what do you start off with first?
Well, the only reason why I ever learned how to do that was because when we first started recording, like we didn't have the money. We couldn't afford going to an actual studio and like recording together. So I was like, I got Audacity, and then I was like, okay, I guess I'll just play the bass first. So I would like have like a metronome in the background just clicking, and then I would play it, and then in my head I would sing the lyrics, and then I would go back and then push record and then record the guitar, and then go back and then do the lead, and then go back and then do the drums. But the thing with the drums is like, since I didn't have like a whole mic set, what I would do was put the mic on the kick drum and then on the snare, and I would record that, and then I would go back, and then I would just like, it would sound so ridiculous, but I would just stand there hitting the cymbals.
Yeah.
So that way we would have cymbals in the recording.
That's crazy.
So I would just like stand there listening to the whole recording, and then eventually I would put vocals on it. So then now that's how the process goes. Like it just kind of like, I've done it so much that it just comes natural to me. So like I click a metronome, add the guitar, or start with the bass, depending on like how I feel, you know, how I want the song to start, and then add a lead to it, and then my vocals, and then I'll add the drums to it.
That's crazy, man. So tell me, like, how, like, that's how your song comes about, but what inspires the words and everything towards that? Where do you get your lyrics from?
Well, it's weird because the songs that I put the most meaning into are the ones that are less popular.
Oh.
You know? It's usually the songs that like I'm like, okay, whatever, like I'm just gonna go on the microphone and then just say whatever comes to mind. Like I have this song called Runaway, and then literally the song, if you listen to it, you're like, it doesn't make any sense. I'm like, close the door, you know, kiss me while you're at it. Like, it's just like, I didn't really think about it. I just went on the microphone and I just started singing it. And then just because it's catchy, it's a song that people like. So then now that when I record songs and stuff, like I don't really put a lot of like thought into it, like a deep meaning into it. Like I'm just like, whatever comes to mind is what's important to me in the moment.
You go
know?
more off of the vibes rather than...
Yeah. So like I'll record it, and then to me in the moment it doesn't mean anything, but then like later on I'll listen to it and I'll be like, okay, this is why I said that, because this is what I was going through in the moment, you know.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So far out of your whole journey so far that you've experienced, what are some of like the proudest things that have happened for the Musky Vine and all of you guys?
One of the proudest moments for us, I think it was playing the Neon Reaver Festival. Like, it was the very first festival we ever played, and it's not like a major festival, you know, but it's like we had never been paid that much, you know. We had never been like performing and got to meet artists that, you know, we looked up to.
Yeah.
Like being the same roster, like that was just incredible for us, you know. So that was really exciting. It was like really like a step up for us. Like it kind of made us realize like, okay, if people want us to play at a festival, then maybe
you guys could go take
Yeah.
it further.
yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So like, how do you get all those jobs? Are you the one in charge of like finding bookings and all that?
Yeah, I'm in charge of the Facebook page and all the emails and
everything.
stuff. Yeah, but like I don't really know what I'm doing. I just kind of like wing it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, okay, like I'm writing the emails. I'm like, okay, sound professional, sound professional. You know? So like a lot of people, like when they meet us, like when we would set up a venue and stuff,
Yeah.
they'll be like, who was I talking to? Is that your guys' manager? I'm like, oh no, that was me.
That
like
was
I
me.
run everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. All right, Ace, so tell me, man, like how was it like growing up for you, man? Like what's your background?
Well, my background, I was born and raised here in Vegas.
Okay.
You know, I'm a Mexican American. I'm a Chicano. So my mom is Mexican. My dad's Mexican too. My dad's from DF, and my mom's from Sonora. And I grew up on the east side, right by El Dorado. I've always lived by that side. And
So you're Vegas raised.
yeah,
Oh, nice.
it's the reason why I got that tattoo right there, Battleborn. You know,
Oh.
I was born and raised in Vegas. So yeah, I really like the city, you know. But yeah, like I was always on the east side. I went to El Dorado High School, went to O'Callahan Middle School, and around the age of 18, like my parents are very religious Mormons.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of people don't figure because they're like, this guy has tattoos and he's got earrings and, you know, he has a foul mouth. But yeah, my parents are Mormon, and they're really strict with me. So around high school when I was 18, you know, in the Mormon religion, you're supposed to go on a mission. You know, you're supposed to go preach the gospel for 2 years. And even before I was 18, like around 16, 17, like I was like, this isn't for me, you know, like this isn't what I want to do in my life.
You didn't relate to the culture.
Yeah. I just didn't believe in the religion 100%, you know?
Yeah.
So like, I didn't want to disappoint my parents. They're like, you're going to go on your mission, right? And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go. And I would just say that just to make them happy, you know, because like I really wanted to do it.
Yeah.
So eventually I turned 18 and I didn't serve a mission, and I went behind my mom's back and I joined the military. And later on she found out, and you know, she was disappointed about it, and she kicked me out of her house because my parents are divorced. So she kicked me out of her house, and then I moved in with my dad, and then after like a couple months he kicked me out of his house, and I ended up living with a friend who he played keyboard for us for a bit. His name is Kenny.
Nice.
Yeah. And then ever since I joined the military, like I'm always really thankful for the military, because if it wasn't for the military, I wouldn't be where I am now, you know, living on my own, you know, got a steady income.
That's true, man. Yeah, it's definitely tough. Like when certain things ends up dividing families or dividing people in general, you know?
Yeah. I mean, there was a time where like I didn't talk to my mom for like a year. I didn't talk to my dad for like 2 years. But like now, you know, like I'm grown, you know, I live my own life. I pay my own bills and stuff.
Yeah.
So like now they just kind of have to accept me for who I am, you know? Like they might not accept the way I am, like me with tattoos and earrings and stuff, you know? They might hate it, but I'm still their son, you know?
Yeah.
So kind of like all that stuff just kind of in the past, you know? But it's still kind of hard to talk to them, and then like in my mind I'm like, well, you did this to me and did that to me.
That's
you
true.
know? But I try to put it aside and just like, listen, my parents, I gotta love them no matter what.
That's good, man. Glad to hear that, man. So tell me, man, like, how were they accepting the music? Like, did you ever tell them like, oh, like this is what what I want to do, or did they ever say like, why are you wasting time there? Or were they supportive with it, or were they not?
No, my parents were never supportive of anything I wanted to do. Like, I think with like Hispanic parents is that they have in their head a vision of what they want their son or their daughter to be, you know? So like when I first started the band, like my mom was like, okay, that's fine. It's, you know, something for him to do instead of being in the streets and like, you know, doing something he's not supposed to. And then later I started going to like house shows and stuff. And then she saw the environment that I was in, like, you know, she saw people drinking and doing stuff like that. She was like, I better not see you drinking, better not see you smoking and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like, she was just like, you got to stop playing this music. You got to focus on school. You got to go to college and stuff. And like, I don't know. To me, it was just like, I wasn't taking music seriously, you know, but like, at least I expected my mom to be like, I support you, whatever you want to do. But it was never like that,
Yeah.
you know?
I got you, man. Yeah, it's tough. It's definitely tough when those circumstances appear. But yeah, man, I'm glad that you happen to move on and you're well past that, man.
Yeah.
So tell me, man, like at the moment, what inspires you, man? Like what keeps you going on a daily?
What keeps me going on a daily, I think is I'm a very realistic thinker, you know. I don't really like to dream a lot. Like I have my certain, you know, dreams, but I always try to apply the realism of life, you know, to it. So like I'm always thinking ahead. Like I'm like, okay, in the future, what am I gonna need? You know, I'm gonna need a steady income. I'm gonna need to provide my family with health care. I'm gonna need to provide them with, you know, savings, stuff like that. So I think that's what pushes me, because I don't want to be like on my own my whole life, you know. Like I have a, you know, a fiance, you know.
Nice. Yeah.
And like I love her and everything, but like she's what pushes me now. But then I'm like, okay, well, when we get married and we have kids, you know, my future kids is what pushes me. My future family is what pushes me to keep going and, you know, keep making money and, you know, focusing on what's important.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome, man. And as far as kids are concerned, man, how many would you like to have eventually?
I don't know. Like, I've always been focused on, like, I'm always joking around, and then I always say like I want a son. You know, like my first kid, I'm like, it's gonna be a son. It's gonna be a son. You know.
Yeah.
My fiance's like, how are you so sure it's gonna be a son? I'm like, I don't know. I just got a feeling like it's gonna be a boy. It has to be a boy.
Has to be a boy.
And then she's like, what if he comes out gay? I was like, it doesn't matter if he comes out gay. Like, he's still a boy, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, as long as he's a boy, like I don't care.
That's true, man.
But I've always had in my mind like at least 2 kids would be fine. You know. But right now I'm still young. You know, I gotta, you know, make myself a little bit more stable, and then, you know, that's when family comes in, and, you know, first is like setting my like establishing myself, you know.
Yeah.
And then after that I can be like, okay, and then I can have family, so that way they don't have to go through what I went through, you know.
That's true, man. That's true. I feel like a lot of times like people are so unprepared with kids, and honestly it just ends up sometimes even killing plans that people are doing at the moment, like with the whole thing, like having a kid at this age, like with the whole music thing, like it could ruin a lot of things, honestly, if you're not prepared for it.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, Ace. So tell me, man, like what are some things or some lessons that you wish someone would have told you when you were younger, that, you know, like some things that you know now that you wish maybe you would have learned it when you were a bit younger?
I think don't waste time. Don't waste time. Like, you look at like people who are successful now, they're like, they didn't waste any time. Like, they were just like, okay, this is what I composed. Like, even if they thought it wasn't good, you know, they were just like, whatever, I'm just gonna put it on SoundCloud. And look at them now, they're like huge, you know. There's some famous rappers, you know, famous singers, and they started from nothing, you know, from what they thought wasn't that good, and they just put it out, and they're, you know. So don't waste time. Whatever you want to do. Like, if somebody, let's say, like for me, sometimes I listen to some rappers, I'm like, man, these are some whack rappers, you know, but they're huge, you know. So like, even if you think, or if somebody else thinks that you're whack or like your music isn't good, just put it out. Maybe there's somebody out there that's looking for the music that you compose or that you write or that you make, you know.
Yeah, I agree, man. It's like, I remember, I believe Logic said this. He said your favorite song might be someone else's least favorite song, and your least favorite song might be someone else's favorite song. So yeah, it's definitely like, I feel like music is very, very opinionated at the end of the day. But I agree. I really love the saying that you have with the whole don't waste your time. Like, if you're going to do something, do it. If you're gonna make something, put it out. Don't just waste time making it. Like put it out and don't be afraid of the reception that it might get. I really love that, man. And also, man, like what's some advice that you would give to some maybe some artists starting out that's maybe starting to produce or starting to get into music? What kind of advice would you give them?
I would say maybe like I don't know, like advice wise, I'd be like just do a lot of performing, do a lot of recording, like even if it's just like just messing around in your computer making like beats that are whatever, just make them. Like you never know, like there's like a lot of people out there who like make music that in the moment they're like, it's whatever, I don't think it's that good, and then they send it to somebody and they're like, dang, this beat's awesome, I'm gonna rap over it, and then that beat becomes like some major song, you know. Just like keep going, keep composing, keep writing, and whatever you comes to mind, just just fiddle around, record it, and then later it might just become something even greater than what you thought it was.
I agree, man. So, man, also a while ago, I remember you posted something about like making trap music. I don't know how many people actually paid attention to that, but like I do my digging, man. Like honestly, like I listen to that and I find it quite interesting, man. How did that come about, man?
Well, like I was actually really, really judgmental like when it comes to music when I was younger. Like
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh, trap music. Like I just hated the sound of like rolling hi-hats. Like I would hear somebody pass by in their car and I'd be like, "Drrrr," and I'd be like, oh man, this music is garbage. Like the meaning in it is just garbage, you know?
Yeah.
But I think like that's why I don't like categorizing music. Like I don't like people saying, okay, this is trap, because like the music I make, people categorize it as trap, you know, because it has like rolling hats and it has like, a deep bass and stuff like that. But it's really not trap music.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like a different genre, like aside from trap. Like, but I used to be really judgmental about music, and then I was just like, well, this music's not to like sit down and be like, oh man, this has a deep meaning to it. It's
Yeah,
just
it's
for you
more
to like
have
have
fun.
fun. Yeah.
I was just completely surprised, honestly, like going from one type of music all the way to the other side to
Yeah.
rap.
Well, I just think like music doesn't have any boundaries. Like just because I'm in a band, like what's telling me that I can't do rap music, you know? Like what's telling me that where are those boundaries, you know? There's like people making music that has rock and rap in it. So why can't I do a different type of genre? So I was like, well, I might as well just do it, cuz like back in the day, I used to just rap, just, write something down, something simple, And then once I got my recording equipment, I started like making my own like simple beats and stuff like that, or getting beats off the internet. And then I would rap on them and then I would show it to my friends. It was like really, really shitty quality, but it was like, whatever. So then I showed it to them and they're like, oh, you actually know how to rap. But they'd be like, who's this? And I'd be like, oh, this is me. Like, that's not you. That doesn't sound anything like you. And I was like, oh, when I'm rapping, like my voice sounds different and stuff like that. And he'd be like, oh, this is pretty cool. And then I was just like joking around and I started like a SoundCloud. And since I was joking around, I named the SoundCloud Hobby Raps, like as in hobby, like it's a hobby,
Hobby raps, yeah.
And people are like, is that what you call yourself, Hobby Raps? Like, no, it's like just what I call the page.
Yeah.
And then now recently, like I was like, well, maybe I should try taking it seriously and actually try to produce it properly and like make my own serious beats and, a little bit more serious rhymes, And I made another SoundCloud and it's called Ashma. It's like Ace, what people call me, and then Shma. And Ashma is like some kind of demon. If you search it up, it's like some kind of demon. And
that's your alter ego right there.
Well, I don't know. I just thought it sounded cool, so I was like, kind of, I can incorporate what people call me already into that whole thing. I like the whole like gothic, vibe.
I get you, man.
Yeah.
So tell me, man, like with the whole music thing, what do you have going on at the moment? Like what can people expect from you in the near future?
Well, I think it was yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday. I put out a single. Put it on YouTube, but right now on October 15th, it's there's gonna be 3 new songs that are coming out. It should be like a little small EP. At the moment, I don't know if I'm gonna put out a whole album, but I might be doing 2 separate EPs. But yeah, it's 3 new songs coming out on Spotify and iTunes, like any streaming media you use, and it's gonna be called "What They Told You About Love Isn't True."
What they told you about love isn't true. I
Yeah.
like that. I like that. That's a really catchy title, man.
Yeah.
So, where for all the people follow are watching right now at the moment, like where can they follow you at, man?
Well, I got a Instagram, the Muscovine, and then I got a Facebook, same thing, the Muscovine, and Spotify. I really like people, following me on Spotify because I like how Spotify, updates you when something like an artist puts out a new song or a new single and they're featured or something. So just give a follow on there or like on iTunes and stuff like that.
And
Yeah.
what about YouTube?
YouTube? Yeah, I have YouTube too. We have a couple of like music videos and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And they're kind of like low quality. The only
Yeah.
high quality video we have is the one that was in what's it called, the Vegas Music Festival or the Vegas Video Festival.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the only like really cool one. I'm like, dang, this is professional,
Yeah.
But yeah, you can go see our videos there and stuff. But we don't have like our albums there. We just have a couple songs.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, it was awesome talking to you, man. Thanks for inviting me to your home to be able to set all this up. And
Yeah.
honestly, I hope everything goes extremely well for you, man.
Thank you for having me on your show, and I appreciate you, talking with me and stuff.
Yeah, no problem, man. Any last message that you'd like to give to the audience?
Stay on the lookout for new music, new material, and my side project, all that trap stuff.
All right, take care, man.
Hey, this is Ace from the Muscovine. Thank you for watching the Anthony Brandon Show, and if you like what you've seen, hit the like or subscribe button.